What's going on, guys? You are back with the Kai Beam podcast. I know we missed last weekend, but we just weren't feeling up to it, man. And with Gamdo being gone, I actually have a guest here. He wanted to actually start appearing on here. This is the friend Izzy we were talking about for like the past couple episodes. So yeah, welcome back. This is episode 8, I believe, or 7, somewhere in that range. My bad, I'm just forgetting. But anyway, we have a lot of topics here today. Well, not a lot, but enough. So this is kind of old news here, and we talked about this when it happened, and it's just crazy that Microsoft thought that this was a good idea when we've seen this time and time again where these companies, for some reason, think that just because you do X amount of good things that no one will see when you pull out the rug from under them, right? So you have Microsoft over here trying to hike the price up of Xbox Live. Now, granted, it's already costing a full $60 AAA game to play online. So for some reason, these guys decided that they wanted to do some Amazon shit and say, yeah, $120 for a year. And it's like, you guys have some balls, for one. I'll say this for PlayStation 2, when they started charging for PS Plus, or when they made it like a necessity, like something you have to have. Because I remember before that, PS Plus was just this thing you could get, like if you want discounts or shit like that, on PS3 anyway. And then because they saw, what were you gonna say?
I was just saying, like, the PS3 seems like it's a phase in where they were just testing out the water. So once they transition to like the PS4, then they're gonna just full blown start charging people for that.
Right. Yeah, I agree, because it's just like, man, like, you had Microsoft for the longest time, they're already charging everyone for online access. And I don't remember if I'm pretty sure they did hike the price, because I believe initially PS Plus in the beginning and Microsoft Live were like $40.
They hiked their price. It was
like
$40. It was $40 and about $15 initially for the original prices. And
See,
after they switched to transition to PS4, then they actually hiked the price up and added a few extra games to the library of free games. So in essence, they're trying to say, yeah, we're adding value to this, so we're gonna hike the price up for you because we're gonna be doing a lot of more infrastructure upgrade for you. But obviously,
yeah, that's a fucking lie. Like, us is like, we mainly play on PlayStation. We've dabbled in the Xbox. We've had Xboxes and we try to play over there, but it's just we're already.
Have Xbox.
He still has his. I sold mine a long time ago. I want to get an Xbox Series X eventually, but first off, I'm getting a PS5 because there's more games there that I want to personally play. And it's kind of hard to main two different consoles, and then you throw a PC in that. It's just a lot. But yeah, we've been playing on PlayStation for a long time, and I will tell you right now, PS Plus is not worth $60, dude. Nope, there's always constant, there's always constant like server issues, and then like, I mean, some of the free games they give away are cool, like we just got that Control Ultimate Edition shit. That's cool.
And then I think Little Nightmares.
Yeah, which that's cool, but it's like Sony really, and this is where I'll give Microsoft the one up. They have that Game Pass thing where it's like a shit ton of like old and new games that you can just play as long as you have the pass, right?
All right. So, from what I was seeing with that price hack, I think they were just trying to phase out gold and try to direct people more to go get Game Pass Ultimate, because Game Pass Ultimate seems to include gold in there for free. Well, not for free, but all inclusive packaging.
Right.
So in a sense, they're trying to phase out gold, but they realize not everybody wants to sign up for Game Pass Ultimate, and it was just a bad PR move. But they were testing the water. They want to see people reaction about that If people
Right.
are gonna just let that shit slide, obviously they're just gonna let that stay in place, and before you know it, within a year of time, they're just gonna phase out gold and just say, Game Pass Ultimate, best deal. Or you could get the 3 months or 1 month Ultimate whenever you want to play. But obviously, you're not with the 1 month and 3 months plan of Ultimate. You're not gonna get any of the gold uh benefit of playing online. You have to get the Ultimate to play online with Xbox. So
Yeah.
that's why a whole bunch of people had a backlash and really were just pissed off about it.
Right.
But
Which, yeah, it's like you were testing the waters. Like, I still don't think that was a good idea personally
I don't either.
because it's just like you can't expect to just like change something like especially by that much of a margin. That's like double the price. That's two AAA games, dude.
Yep.
Like, I'm not paying that just to play online. Like, that's ridiculous. Let Sony do that. I will, nigga, do not do that shit, please.
I
That's
don't think
garbage.
Sony's gonna do that like that. Compared to Microsoft at the moment, like that online infrastructure still needs a lot of work. So I don't think they can stop pulling stuff like that until they start giving people like dedicated server and other things that will entice them, or should I say, put in more as a value for their PlayStation Plus subscription. And right now, like they don't have anything to like justify the price
Yeah,
or anything of that sort for it.
yeah, I agree. But all that to say is they reversed all that stuff, so everything's the same. So yeah,
Yep.
that's
And
good.
I
That's good.
think with the reversal too, they brought back the $60 a year model where because initially I don't know if you know this, but they actually took out Game Pass for 60 the $60 one. They took that out completely, so you didn't have the option to get a $60 Game Pass anymore. You only have like I think 3 months or 6 months and 3 months plan. So in essence, if you want to get a 6 months plan, which is you got to get two. Or if you want to get a year plan, you have to get two 6 months plan, which is over $60. But I think they brought back the $60 model, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Which
I think I saw that. Yeah, because yeah, it's just like I don't know why they thought that would be a good idea. Like 6 months for $60 is like, dude, that's insane. That's what I'm saying. These dudes really thought they were on some Amazon shit apparently, because I know Amazon is like for a year, it's in
oh
like
yeah,
$120 or some shit. So
I mean that really initially when Amazon did that, it wasn't digging in my pocket because I was still a student at then, so I still had a student discount where you pay the regular $60 price. But
right.
yeah, after I graduated, that started digging into my pocket. But I mean, after a while, when you just leave it on just auto renew, you don't really notice it. But yeah, initially, I got ticked off about that because I have to be paying more than twice the price for something that is just getting like the same service with no added value, but they just want to raise the price because they can,
Yeah.
which is
I
really
mean, I'm not gonna make an excuse for them. I mean, their whole Amazon service model Prime is like a really big thing. It's kind of like
yeah
revolutionized like buying online and shit, right?
yeah.
So they do have that going for them, but it is still overpriced. I mean, you have other things bundled in there, like the Amazon Prime Video and that type of shit.
But
Um,
that's the thing though, like even though they have some things like Amazon Prime Videos bundle, and then not a lot of people use that service. I mean,
no, they don't.
some people use it, but it's really difficult to find like shows that you always want to watch on that because
Not
the
to
catalog
mention,
is just
not to
all
mention this the way it's set up. It's really cluttered. Like they need to
yeah.
overhaul that shit, man.
They need a
It's
better
just
user interface. It's
uh,
not user friendly at the moment.
it's not. Yeah, there's not a lot on there either. Like besides the boys, I don't go on there to watch anything.
Oh no,
Like
they have a lot of movies on there. Trust me. Like they have a lot of Amazon original movies that I really watch and Amazon original series. So you just have to dig into the catalog to actually find it. And the way they have it positioned is where you can pretty much like bundle all your streaming services with Amazon in a sense, so you can see your Netflix things. Like, say you have an Amazon Fire Stick or any of the Amazon streaming device. If you log into all your devices, right, you don't
Mm,
have to actually open the apps anymore to actually watch your most of your shows. You can see all those on the dashboard of the Amazon thing. But or not, that's where I'm talking about the clutter and stuff like that, because now you
right.
just have all your streaming services on your dashboard where you can see content from all of them on your
Right.
dashboard. And once you click on it, then it go and launch the app. But in essence, it just confuses people.
Yeah.
Because you will
That.
be watching stuff from Netflix and you think, oh, is this from Netflix? When you click on it, it open Peacock or HBO Max or whatever.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't know that because I have my bundle through Hulu basically, so I have Hulu and then all that shit. I don't do that though. I like to go to the specific apps with the specific
Correct.
shit because yeah, like you said, it just becomes cluttered. Because on Hulu, I have my HBO Max, I have Disney Plus, and then I have I think that's it. Hulu, HBO Max, and Disney Plus. I feel like I'm forgetting something else. Oh, I have Netflix too, but that
Netflix,
doesn't
right?
it doesn't equate because it's not on there. But yeah, I've noticed on Hulu, but it's a lot better like optimized the setup because what they have going for them is like they have all the Hulu originals and then they have like other Hulu stuff and then they'll have a section by itself was like this is because you have HBO Max and then there's like a section specifically only for HBO Max so it doesn't get like mixed in. But I don't ever do that. I just go to the specific apps because I just like to have it like in one concise place to go and view what I want to watch. So
Right.
yeah,
Me as well.
yeah, it's a
So
whole
that just
thing,
makes
man.
sense.
It's a whole thing. It's fun. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up for that. Our next thing, this should be just a small thing. I mean, this is kind of old at this point, but um, me and Gamdo, we are really big fans of the Skate franchise. Back when they were back on the PS3, and I believe were they on PS2? I think it was mainly PS3. We're more so talking
Uh,
about Skate 3.
oh,
Um,
okay, because I was thinking about more along the line of Tony Hawk, but yeah,
yeah,
I
no, no, no.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, not Tony Hawk, man. I was never really into those games, but Skate, yeah, that was like an EA property that actually they didn't like do any sneaky shit in. It was just a pure skate game, and it was different from a lot of the other games back then. Like, you had your shooters and puzzle games and RPGs, and it's just a skate game.
Right.
You could play with your friends, you go around the city, you could do tricks, and it was fun. It was fun. There's a story to it. You're supposed to like build your skate brand and all that stuff. And
And
you could,
career.
yeah, career, and then you build your character and all that stuff. So it was just fun. And for a long time, a lot of people, because it was kind of like this kind of niche market, and
Right.
they didn't want to really follow up on it, like with Skate 4, because they weren't sure if it was going to really bring them in money. But so many people have been asking for it for so long that they finally gave in, or like, okay, fine, we're going to do Skate 4. So,
Question:
hmm?
What was skate focusing more on the simulation of skating or more on the arcadey side of Tony Hawk?
I think it was like kind of like
A
hmm.
mixture of both.
Yeah, a mixture of both because there are some realism aspects. Like you really do have to like time your tricks right. Because if you don't, then obviously you just bite it and your fucking character just flails on the ground. I mean, that's the funnier part about it is like the rag dolls. But
Right.
yeah, it was. I think it was a mixture of both. They have some arcadey stuff in there, but mostly it seemed like a simulation because you had your races and then you had just all these different activities you could do around the city, and then you could go against like well-known skate people. Like you'd have races against them, and it was just cool. It was a cool time. It was fun. They had a really good soundtrack too. Actually, that was another thing.
Yeah.
And I say all that to say though, they finally announced the development team that's going to be developing it, and apparently their name is Full Circle. So that's awesome. I can't wait to play it. Um, yeah, that's about it. And I forgot to add this in here because we talked about it, me, you, and Gamdo, I think, a couple days back. But the whole Mass Effect 3 thing, I forgot to add that in here. I just happened to remember it. So they had released the trailer for Mass Effect 3, the remaster and whatever. And I'm gonna get it, but yeah, now I see what you guys are saying about it, right? It doesn't exactly look like how I thought it would. I thought it would be like just
I, t- I told you,
yeah,
man.
I thought it
Like
was gonna be way better than what that actually looked like. I'm not gonna lie.
you had
So
a nostalgia outlook on things, and I'm like, this game is not gonna be as you remember, my guy. I mean, it was great for the time it was released, but in 2021, it's not gonna be the best looking game, and probably it's not gonna feel the best looking, or should I say the best the most immersive as it was back then, which is
right,
right around 2011, 2012, 2010. So
yeah,
yeah, it may have a different feeling to it, but it's still a Mass Effect. It's just you may just remember in a nostalgic way that wishes like a good old memory of the game that you played, but it may not just feel the same way that it was,
yeah,
and it
it's
may
true.
not look as well as it should be looking.
Yeah, I agree because yeah, when I saw that, I was like, damn, that yeah, that doesn't look exactly how I thought it would. But I'm a fan of the series. The first three, I should say. I mean, I didn't really get a chance to play Mass Effect 1. I would say most more so I'm a fan of Mass Effect 2 and 3. This will be my chance to play the first one. We'll see if how the mechanics or anything, if they update anything at all, because I don't know. But um, yeah, and I was you guys were talking about how they like took out like nudity stuff now apparently or something like.
It's
They,
not. It's not more along the line of nudity. It's more along like of the camera angles in which the characters are shot. In in essence, think about if you're like watching a movie and there's a lot of butt shots and so in a movie, right?
right,
But now with the way they're redeveloping and re-releasing the game, they're taking out a lot of like the angle where somebody's wearing clothes and the camera keeps focusing on our butt instead of their entire body, or they keep focusing on our face. They're taking half of those shots out because it just really doesn't like adding it into the story in a sense where you're just showing a person's butt when they're working or walking from the back instead of showing their entire body.
right. Yeah, that
So
is true. That is true.
so they're just going to be taking some of those camera angles out and
Right.
adding a new angle to it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Mass Effect. I think. I mean, uh, I guess let us know down below if you're interested in that. You know, if you're interested in the remaster. And personally, I think they said they're going to. I believe Witty told me. You guys have heard him before. He was on the podcast before. But they're doing a sequel, but it's not going to be. Thank God, it's not going to be Andromeda because Andromeda was, dude. That was like, man, like I never even finished that game because it was just so disappointing, man. Just to see where like you've made all this headway, you made Mass Effect like this mainstream thing. It's like a thing that a lot of people know about, and then you just like kind of just
Went downhill with
yeah, it's just like man, what happened? Like really? Because they had all those like weird facial animations, and then just honestly, the story wasn't that gripping either. And I don't know what they were doing with that, but apparently this next sequel, it's gonna be far away from that. It's gonna be in our galaxy again. Hopefully, we'll see some things about Shepard or whatever, because there's a lot of like things that happened in Mass Effect 3 that like weren't really like explained. Because like I remember, if you got to a certain amount of like ships recruited or like other races and stuff recruited, like you got this secret cutscene where basically it made it seem like Shepard was still alive.
right.
I don't know if like that's gonna be paid off or not, but I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. You guys already fucked up, so we'll see how that turns out, if that's even gonna be a good game or not.
It's just probably just because the development of Mass Effect just got to that head, like when you were on a high horse like the entire time doing well with your game development, you just think you can really didn't do any wrong when you're releasing the next game. But it's always good to go back to the drawing board and just like incorporate new stuff and existing stuff instead of just riding on your high momentum of we made these great games. I think we can pull it off again with another one, but without putting in much effort, you know.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where they screwed up with Andromeda.
Yeah, I definitely agree because they definitely let that go to their head, and it came out in the worst way possible. I mean, we've seen this. We've seen multiple examples of this at this point. I mean, just recently we had this shit with Cyberpunk, man.
Cyberpunk.
Like you know, you have it to where this company they're we're for the gamers, blah blah blah, and we're not gonna be doing this and doing that, and we won't release it until it's done. Fucking liars. Like like that's just, and it's unfortunate because, but on the other hand too, as some people have said, like with CD Projekt Red, the only really good game that they had thus far was Witcher 3.
And Gwent,
So
if
Gwent,
you're into
yeah.
Gwent, but I never really got into Gwent, and I was never good at playing that, or even in The Witcher itself. So like, I was never good at playing Gwent in Witcher proper. So
Yeah,
I was
I actually enjoy Gwent. Like it's a fun thing, and like I remember like I was so, because they had this tournament, like when you beat a certain like people around the world or whatever, you had this tournament where niggas are extremely hard to beat, and like I remember like I would just sit there because every time I'd lose, I'd be like, no, I'm winning this entire tournament, bro. So I just reset the entire fucking tournament because you can't like save in between like every like set that you go through.
Are you talking
So
about in game, or
yeah,
are
in
you just
game,
talking about
in
okay?
game, in The Witcher 3. I mean, because it's a quest line.
Yeah, because I thought
So
you were talking about like the standalone Gwent game that everybody
no,
is
no,
because
no,
okay.
no, no. I like beside beyond like Witcher 3. Yeah, I'm not gonna play Gwent like that. You know, it's
Okay,
just
that makes sense.
like I'm just talking purely in Witcher. But yeah, like you know, we've had all these companies, and that's why it just sucks because like you really have to be like cautiously optimistic with a lot of these games
You do.
nowadays
You really do.
because it's like the developers can say anything you want you to hear, and then as soon as the game comes out, it's shit, and it's like, man, like what happened to gaming, man? You know, before it's just like you release a game, the shit works, you have DLC maybe, and that's about it. You know.
Yep.
Now
Not
it's just
anymore.
like games is a live service, and all, you know, you have fucking the Avengers game, which fucking tanked. That was garbage. Anthem, garbage. Cyberpunk, garbage. Like it just is. It
It's just like
sucks.
the mentality of the publishers is like, we'll release the game, and since we can always release a patchwork, don't worry, just release the game, and we're gonna patch it later. That is not supposed to be how games should be released. Games should be released properly, where it's playable in its initial base form. Then, once it's playable, really you can enjoy at least a good experience. Then you can release other addition to it. Don't
Right.
release a half broken game and just
Yeah. It.
pay that off with nonsense.
Yeah. It just comes off as like you guys are lazy. Like you just
Not
lazy
only
and
is
you
it
want the
lazy,
money. You just want
it's
our money.
it's
Like,
disrespectful to the consumers, because now you're just straight up lying to people and telling them like, oh, this game is gonna be awesome, get it, and somehow they have figured out a way to mess with the games media, where they always like hit them with high embargoes where they cannot release proper game footage of the game. So in
right.
essence, you're not even really making an educated purchase anymore
Right.
for games that you really want to buy, you know? So that's why I don't even pre-order games anymore. I just wait for it to come out, and it's not like playing it on day one and playing it on like day 50 is gonna make a difference to me.
Right. Especially if the fucking release is trash. Like, you know,
Right.
there's a whole bunch of
Exactly.
bugs, glitches, and other things. Because, yeah, I've been burned a lot by games, man. Like, I think the first time, like, that it ever really was, like, wow, was, I think, back when, like, because I was a huge fan of the Arkham series, and they had released Arkham Knight, and on consoles it was fine, but, like, I had gotten it on PC, dude.
It's buggy as hell.
It was fucking buggy as shit. I was like, what the hell? And I remember I literally got a game breaking bug, dude. Like, game breaking. Like, there was this mission I was supposed to do, and you're supposed to go in this blimp, and the blimp was, like, glitched out. I couldn't get in it, and I couldn't do anything. And I was just like, wow.
And
So,
even after resetting the game, it still
nope,
wouldn't let you
yep.
get on there.
I'd reset it, I'd I'd reset the save, start like leave, exit, come back in, and it'd just be glitched out. I was like, wow. After that, I just got my refund, dude. I was like, yeah, fuck you guys, man. Like this is just garbage.
Wow.
So yeah, it just sucks to have to see the gaming industry like this. Like it just sucks. And I hope there's some sort of turnaround. I want to be hopeful that there's going to be some company. I mean, we've had companies. Let me not say like every company's done that. I mean, you have games like God of War, like Santa Monica. You know, they're
Yeah,
awesome.
Ghost of Tsushima
Ghost of
too. Like
Tsushima, yeah, Ghost of Tsushima.
it released a great game and a great base package, and just say, hey guys, by the way, we have online content that is coming. What a full online playable content plus raids, dude. You know how hard it
Yeah,
is to put a raid in a game that is an actual fun raid that is playable. Like
right,
that is difficult, bro. Like, and I mean, Bungie always does it with Destiny on a like annually basis, but even they find it difficult to come up with unique raids now.
right.
And how much raid do they have? About 10 of it. And yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, a complete single player game that is completely enjoyable with complete story. I mean, it's not buggy or anything of the sort, but the game was actually enjoyable. You know,
Right.
you put a good 50 or 60 hours in the game, then plus addition of the multiplayer, which is pretty fun with your friends, 4 player multiplayer, and yeah, with a raid. Game is completely fun, and they don't even charge anybody a dime for the extra multiplayer content, and people really enjoy that game. So
Yeah.
I don't see why bigger publishers can't pull that off. You know,
Oh, it's because of the greed, the money. You know, you just
it
want
is.
the now, 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 now. Like, yeah, and another example of that would be like, what's another company? What's the company behind Fallout? Bethesda, right?
Bethesda, yeah.
Yeah, like they even had their fall from grace, and I don't even know, like, because that was a big acquisition for Microsoft, but I'm still
It
just
is.
kind of like, I don't
I
know.
mean,
You guys better make sure their games come out and they actually fucking work. Like, you
no,
know?
I think with the acquisition of Microsoft, that is a good thing in a sense, and also a bad thing for other platforms and shit. But with the acquisition of Microsoft, I think for Microsoft now, in a sense, realized they don't want as stupid bad PR on a brand. So whenever a game isn't ready, I don't think they're gonna force it out
Yeah.
because, like, with take that game for example, Scalebound. Remember when they were
Oh
hyping that
yeah.
game that it was gonna come
Yeah.
out, but they
Yeah.
realized the game wasn't going anywhere and it probably is not gonna be fun for people to play. So they straight up just canceled that game. So I think with Microsoft and Bethesda partnership, they're gonna be doing some good things in the gaming industry because I don't think Microsoft is gonna allow them to release half cracked or half baked games to anybody because that's just gonna not be a good sense
Yeah.
on our reputation, you know. So
Exactly, because you before now you just did that with Fallout 76, that abomination of a game. Like
correct.
you can't do that again. Like
No,
you can't, because then that's it's game over for you. So
like Spider-Man said, you only get one. So
yeah, no, seriously, like it's the same
sorry to
shit.
interrupt, man.
It's the same shit with CD Project Red. Like I'm a huge fan of The Witcher. Well, mainly Witcher 3, but
Oh, I'm just a huge fan of Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. That's
yeah,
it. Because the
yeah,
other Witcher games, it looks awful, and
yeah.
obviously because it was released on older consoles and stuff. But I never really enjoyed playing the other Witcher 3 because they're not really as user friendly as Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. You know.
Yeah. So I will say, at the very least, I'm excited, cautiously optimistic for Witcher 4, of what direction they go with that. But I'm definitely not getting that day one. Nah, I
No.
gotta see that. If you guys fuck up again, then I know I'm never buying another game from you again. Just that simple, like, you know? So it sucks to have to be that way, but that's just what the game industry is now. And you also have
Yeah.
companies like EA, you know, with especially the fucking sports games, dude. Holy shit, dude. They
They're
just con
they're
people
they're
so
never
much,
gonna
man.
get they're never gonna get right with those sports games because they know like the sports game already have a market and people are always gonna buy the game every year that is released every year. They don't really care, you know, because now I don't know if you've heard, but they have. acquired like the license to college football again. So now
Oh,
they're
great.
gonna start releasing those. And I know a lot of people are very huge fan of those games, but again, that game is gonna make a really ton of money with using college players' image and likeness and such. But then the players who their likeness are gonna be in that game, they're not gonna be getting a dime of that revenue from EA or any of the public or any of the developer or publishers of that game, you know. But they're still gonna be making a fuck ton of money, and they may add new stuff to it, or they may just
Yeah,
bring in the
repackage,
yeah,
repackage
repackage the
because
bare minimum and just call it a day, like
yeah,
always.
because on Angry Joe's worst games list, he actually brought up how like FIFA they have these what is it FIFA 21
Logo, yes, logo.
legacy and shit, and where they just repackage the
Yeah,
last year's game with new players and that's it. I was like, oh
it's
my
in both
god, dude.
Madden and FIFA, and
Oh
you
my
look
god, man.
into the crowd, right? You know, like in the crowd, people always like have banners in there with advertisement where it says Madden 21 or Madden 20 or whatever. And
Yeah.
some of their logos always have like the older games advertisement in there with the previous game saying Madden 20, but you play Madden 21 and it says Madden 20 in there.
Oh
Like
my god, man.
or FIFA, or you're playing FIFA 21 and saying FIFA 20 in there. You know that right there is repackaged games and with nothing added to it. You know,
Yeah.
just few noticeable cutscenes, or sometimes even the same work cutscenes anyway, and just bring that in there and say, hey, this is a new game because it's a new year. We just slapped a new number on it. Enjoy.
Oh man, yeah. Unless like, which they won't. I'll just say it. Like time and time again, like people like Joe and all these other places that bring up the fact that the sports games are just a cancer in the gaming community. Like unless the sports fans actually say, yeah, we're just not buying it, which they won't fucking do.
They're not, because guess what?
It's
Like
just gonna continue.
most content creators who are sports gaming fans, they really always have to buy those games every year because their audience always want to see what's new in the game. But there's never anything new, but it's just like the routine that they have gotten into. You know, they always have to buy the sports game, and by buying the sports game, they also encourage their audience to buy the same sports games. And obviously, people are going to continuously just be in that cycle of buying the same game over and over, and with just different number on it. Because my friends I'm playing 20 anymore. They're playing 21, so I got to get on 21 too. You know,
Yep.
and it's just gonna stay in that like endless cycle of bubble of people keep buying the same game until like people actually speak with their wallets and say, yeah, I'm not gonna waste my money on this nonsense. But there's not gonna be a lot of people to do that because
No.
if even if they don't sell as much games, which I doubt they're never gonna do, but they always have the lucrative microtransaction in there too that is gonna keep making them money, like just printing money for them over time anyway. So they're not gonna care.
Yeah. That's another thing that's like kind of worrisome is the whole microtransaction stuff. Like especially as it seeps into like single player games, it's
Yeah.
just ah, it
So
sucks to see, man.
your favorite game, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, just made
Yeah, yeah. I was so surprised when he told me and Gobble about that the other day. Like how these dudes put outfits in there that what you said with the higher stats or something like
yeah,
that, but you
higher
have to
stats. Yeah,
buy
you have to
it.
buy those, bro. You cannot
Like
unlock them in game.
that's
That's fun.
such garbage. Like, and you know how long I haven't played Valhalla, dude. Like, I just completely dropped that game. Maybe when I get a PS5, I'll finish it. But honestly, like the current gen of like Assassin's Creeds have just been like because it's just like one of those series that have become like I don't well. They kind of changed the base model because it used to be annually, but I think they give themselves like 2 years of
Yeah,
development now.
2 years in space.
But
But
even still, like it's just not enough, man. Like they just push those shits out. It's just the same shit over and over and fucking over again. It's just
that that's because when they moved away from the where all the games connect, let's say where all this they have like a single character in a saga, such as Exio's story and Arteo's story, when they moved away from that model because they know they're gonna have to keep creating how do you say this, unique story based on those characters, it actually makes it sensible.
Right.
When they moved away from that, because if they would have stuck with that, the games weren't gonna be having a yearly release and a whole bunch of these Assassin's Creed right now because they just wouldn't make any sense anymore. So by moving away from that, they can pretty much just release games always or every 2 years or annually like they have been doing because you don't have to you don't have to keep following a structure of a story. You can just pick any timeline and just jump into it and say, hey, there was an assassin who lived in this timeline, and they just use the animus nonsense to just straight up just link it as a lifeline or sense to the previous games, but they don't have to specifically give you any details of how those are connected.
Right. Yeah, it's just unfortunate because especially back then when the whole Ezio story going on,
Yeah,
like Ezio was such a likable assassin. You grew
he
with him over
was.
these course of games. Like you saw him from when he was a fucking teenager,
From a
knucklehead.
baby, bro. From
Yeah,
a
from a
baby, because
baby to
you
old
understand how
ass
they
man.
evolve, and
Like,
like the gameplay transforms over the years because like from Assassin's Creed went to Revelations, like the way Ezio plays, he doesn't even move that way anymore because as an old man, like he has to use other stuff to make him jump higher because initially from regular Assassin's Creed, he could just jump up with just arm strength, but Revelations, he couldn't do that anymore because he's getting old. His body can't move that way anymore, so he has to use like his grappling to pull him up
that is
when he's
true.
jumping
Yeah, the
up.
little hooks
And
he had and
yeah,
shit. Yeah,
just little stuff like that just made the game like his follow his story just really impactful.
yeah. And even though they couldn't quite stick the landing with the modern day stuff, like the Desmond character, I mean, he kind of grew on everyone, but like it was more so we were there for the past stuff, like
Yeah,
like Ezio, and they tried to do like other, like we've been doing these other assassins, like uh, what's his name, Connor. I didn't really like him, man. I didn't really like him. He was just so
his
boring.
dad was much of an interesting character than he was.
Exactly. He was just so boring and drab and like just so like
That's
one
because
dimensional. You
that's
know?
because of the age in or should I say the timeline in which they released Assassin's Creed. Like there was just a lot of horrible stuff going on in his timeline, and there's a tasteful way of approaching those how you say subject matters, and for them to actually add that in games, sometimes it could come off tasteful, and sometimes it could come like tasteless, and I don't think they wanted to go that route. That's why like some of the stuff they just like breeze over it instead of going in too much of a detail and some of like the really bad genocide and all those kind of horrible things that went on in that
And that
specific time
time.
period. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think so because it's just funny because thinking about this entire thing, like Assassin's Creed, because after that you play as his grandfather, Hatham's dad,
Right.
Edward, and I found him to be more compelling than even Connor, which I just found to be funny.
That's because he
But
was a pirate, bro.
yeah, he was,
Who doesn't
yeah,
love pirates, man?
pirates, yeah. Yeah, and that was just a big ass game in scope, man. Like, yeah, your
It was
ship and
the ships and all those. Yeah.
yeah, and then I forget after that, like was there a couple games after that? It was like, was that when they started the new ones? Like, cause I don't remember. I feel like there's something else. Oh no, they had that one that Gomdo always talks about. Um,
Unity.
yeah. Unity was actually fine. The story was kind of but that was, I agree with him. At that point, that was the best parkour they ever did. And for some reason, they just couldn't keep that going. Like they just felt the need to change stuff, and it's just like I don't get why. Like that was
They
the
could have kept
best.
that parkour system and added to it, but I don't know.
Yeah, like they feel the need to just add shit because then after that there was the Syndicate game. I didn't play that. That was after Unity. I was just like, yeah, I'm taking a break from Assassin's Creed, man. I didn't play Syndicate. I didn't play any of the other ones that came after that.
Actually, after Revelations, I just tuned out of Assassin's Creed completely.
Yeah, I don't blame you. You didn't miss anything. And then we have the newer ones like Origins. I didn't play that one. But I heard it was decent. And then I started up again during Odyssey because I ended up getting Gomdo Odyssey because it was like Christmas. Oh, here you go, man. I know you're into Assassin's Creed. And he was telling me I should get it because it's actually fun. I was like, okay, so I got it. And it was decent. It was fine. And then I got Valhalla just based off of like it looks cool. He was telling me it's fine, and then now I haven't played that shit in like months. And I mean, maybe I'll finish it up eventually when I get a PS5. We'll see about that. But yeah, it's just they need to go back to the drawing board, do something different, or just take a break from that
Just
shit
take a break.
because it's just gotten redundant at this point.
Taking a break will always help.
Yeah. So yeah, we just went on a huge ass tangent about Assassin's Creed and other games, but all that to say, still,
Yeah,
game industry it's kind of in a rough place right now.
and
So
also give the game time to freaking bake Foley instead of bringing a half baked game out here.
exactly, give yourself time. Don't crunch your employees. Don't do anything. Just give your specific window. Like, listen, you have things like, and I'll keep saying it, God of War, and you could put Horizon in this too. I'm really excited for Horizon too because there's a lot of potential there. But these developers, they give themselves a span of years, and then when the game comes out, guess what? It works,
Yep.
and it's fucking polished as shit, and it's awesome.
And
So
also don't announce a game way too early in the development cycle because you don't even know how that game is going to turn out.
yeah, exactly. And I feel like that is one thing that really fucked up Cyberpunk. Actually, was announcing in like what was it,
Way
2012 or
way too
2013,
early, and we went
and
to the drawing board over and over again with it until even yeah, just don't do that. Wait for the game to almost be ready to go, then say, hey guys, guess what? We have this awesome game that's coming. Look forward to it. It's gonna be releasing in a year or in about 5 months. What do you think? People are gonna
right,
get hyped for that.
exactly. Yeah, another thing Cedar Project Red did that shot themselves in the foot was overhyping their own game. That was another thing. They were just overhyping the shit out of it. And then when it comes out, you just immediately face plant. Like,
Yep.
it's just
And not only were they overhyping it, they were also giving people misinformation.
that
Because
too.
they
Yep.
kept showing all these gameplays that weren't actual gameplays. Like why are you misleading people like that and telling people like this thing is already is almost ready or is ready or when we're gonna release it when it's ready, but it wasn't ready at all. Like
Yeah. And now you've completely like devalued yourself in the eyes of the
pretty
other
much
fans
people are
because
not gonna
now
trust them. People are not
yeah.
gonna trust them
I
easily
don't care
anymore.
what you say as an apology. You had that apology they tried to do a couple of weeks back where he's like, oh, I take full responsibility. We should have known not to release it. It was ultimately the board's call, and it's like, yeah, it was. And you're just admitting you were greedy and just wanted Christmas money, man. So now you have to live with that because everyone's gonna be just watching you like it
People
doesn't
are gonna
matter.
watch them very hard.
Yeah.
They're not gonna let them go for nothing.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but you dug yourself your own hole, so fuck it. Anyway, moving on. I have some music topics here. This should be fun, especially with the one after this. But this is just a quick thing. I've said this before. I'm a huge fan of Kid Cudi. I believe Illusive over here is too. He
Yep.
likes his music, but yeah. So late last year, he released Man on the Moon 3, which I love that album. It was a great album. He actually had another album that was supposed to release this year, along with a Netflix series he was developing with people. And he actually pushed that back to 2022, which I think, honestly, good, man. I mean, give yourself some breathing room. You just released the album. You think he's going to release a deluxe version of that album this year, too, on top of that. So, hey, man, Take what time you need to do what you want to do. I'll check the Netflix series out. I think it's supposed to be like an animated series. I'm sure he'll have some trippy shit in there. You know, just considering the type of artist he is, you know, it's always some trippy shit. So we'll see how that turns out.
He's a great artist, man. Like
he is.
He really is good. He's really good at composing and making music, bro.
Yeah. That's why he's one of my favorite, top inspirations personally. Like as an artist myself, like I want to work with him someday. You know, just get to that point. But we have this next topic, which will lead into another topic that I have listed here as well, because it's just so I don't know if you heard about this, but basically Tiny and his wife, or I said Tiny and his wife, I meant T.I. and his wife. They basically got some allegations thrown at them that they basically are doing some like sexual abuse shit, with, like underage, or maybe not under. Let me see. Let me just click on it real quick. I don't know if it's. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Get the details.
Yeah,
right, bro.
yeah. So T.I. and Tiny have had allegations against them from a woman named Sabrina Peterson. And they're basically a bunch of screenshots from DMs of several women on her Instagram alleging that they've engaged in sexual abuse, among other things. So, yeah, listen, man, I've talked to my mom about this too. And as I said, this leads into another topic, but if this is true, because this is allegedly, like, I don't know why these famous people like just feel like they can do whatever they want. When you get to a certain amount of money, and you know, you hear all these weird things that, like, especially like upper echelon people, like, you know, just do in their free time. It's just fucking weird, man. Like, and again, as I keep saying, this leads into another topic, because me and Gamdo have talked about this countless times. You can't put these famous people on a pedestal. And when I say this, what I mean by that is you can't go to them for your beliefs. And the beliefs in religion or politics or anything, because I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of these musicians or people that have a lot of money, they won't say it if they're smart anyway. If they're smart, they're not going to say they endorsed this nigga Trump, which they probably did because he gave them tax breaks, right? Because they have a certain amount of money they're bringing in. But if they're dumb and, you know, they just are outspoken and, you know, they upset people, then, you know, you lose out on your fans and whatnot. But the smarter ones, they keep their mouth shut and just seem like they're neutral. But I say all that to say as well, a lot of these rappers are off their rockers, man. Like, a lot of the ones that I used to, like, personally look up to, like, a lot of them are the reason that I became an artist myself. You know, like, just to name a few of them, you have T.I., you have Kanye, definitely in there, you have Wayne, Lil Wayne, you have The Game, among others. You know, a lot of them have said or do corny shit. They have been accused of weird things or just say outlandish stuff, and it's just like, I just don't know where the descent happened. Like, you know, as a young kid, a young black kid, you know, you have all these guys you're listening to and looking up to and whatnot, and then it's just crazy to see them say or do these weird things, you know, as an artist myself. So it's just, I say all that to say, you have to, like, differentiate, like, the person from their art, is what I'm trying to say. Like, now that comes with a caveat. Now, if they're just out here doing like complete wild shit, then you just cut them off immediately. But if they're just being assholes and saying dumb shit, you know, you can just ignore that, listen to their old work, and keep it pushing. Because that's what I do. I listen to their old albums, and that's about it. I don't support their new stuff mainly. And it's just like, it is what it is. Like, I can't ever stop listening to fucking Paper Trail or The Carter 3. Like, those are just like classics, man. Like, I love those albums. I was around when they dropped, and the hype and the precedent that they set all those years after that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, all that to say, don't put famous people on a pedestal. Don't go to them to, you know, further your own opinions. don't have this tunnel vision, and you know, it's just be your own person, man. Don't look to them to harbor your beliefs, because 9 times out of 10 they're gonna upset you. That's just the bottom line. You have anything on that, Izzy?
That's just chalk it up to humans being humans, dude. Like, there's not a perfect person out there, you know.
There
Like,
isn't. There isn't.
people always have this public image of where like they're throwing out this perception of like being like the utmost great citizens or whatever they are trying to advocate, but there really isn't a perfect person out there. So like just putting like how do you say this where somebody has this public image that they're projecting out there, but just take the public image out of face value, you know.
Yeah, that's a great.
That may not be who they are in real life.
Exactly. Because they've shown you that they aren't that person multiple
Nope.
occasions, you know.
Exactly.
So you have to, when someone shows you the true colors, you have to believe them. So
Especially like in the entertainment business, it is really that way because people always show like they have more than they actually have, or always like try to put out that image of being successful or like being a great philanthropy or whatever there is out there. But I would say every time somebody put out that image, just subtract that by 25% or like 50% because because people always want to overinflate stuff, you know.
that is
Try to
true.
show something that they don't have.
I mean, especially when you have people who always feel the need to like, and I've always said this, like, as a person, like, if I were to make it and stuff, like, I just be low key. Like, I take the people I like look up to at this point, like Drake or Kendrick or J. Cole, like specifically J. Cole and Kendrick, like you do not hear from these niggas unless they want you to hear from them. That's about it. You don't know much about their personal life. You don't know what they're out there doing. They're just doing them. That's how I would model my career
Yeah,
after,
and I
because
mean
it's
they could
just
be horrible people, but like I said, like also with the victims of like you were talking about in this situation, it's always good to like listen and understand the victims who are coming from these
yep,
situation and putting
yep,
these out there because if they're not held accountable for this, they're just gonna go and move on and do it to other people, you know. So
exactly.
it's good that they're coming out and saying these things so people should actually hold them accountable. Of course, if it's just slander, that also helps prove this by putting it in the public eye, you know. That
Yeah,
way that person who's accusing you cannot go and accuse somebody else of the same nonsense if that's actually slander, you know. But it's good for it to come out there because
yeah,
that way everybody's got gets held accountable for this. If it's
right,
whether in the legal sense or like just in the public eye, you know.
right. Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's definitely a good thing for it to be put into the light, because there's two extremes. There's either they are lying or they aren't, and it's actually something
Actually,
that's actually happened, and you can stop them from doing it again. Like, you know, we've
correct.
seen this, like R. Kelly and that whole situation. It's just like, like, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up my music topics, because there's not much
Also,
else. Oh.
stay away from drug kids.
No, seriously, no, really do, like,
They
because
do
it's,
do wild things.
yeah, especially if you don't have like a limit. You know, like if you just fucking listening to these rappers who tell you to pop like
Yep.
7 Xannies at once or some shit, dude.
Don't let people influence
Yeah,
you taking
don't.
things that you don't have to take.
Yeah, don't be. What's that? What's the situation when that happens? I forget the name of it. Peer pressure. Peer pressure. Don't
Yeah.
let that get to you, man. You're your own person. You choose what you want to do.
I mean, it's not. Sometimes it's not always peer pressure. It's also authority pressure. Don't let somebody in authority pressure you to doing things. Hell, if they're gonna tell you to do that, take the sly approach. Let me go and use the bathroom. Download a damn app recorder on your phone and record them trying to force your ass to do stuff like that.
That is true. That's actually a good idea, actually.
So
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
all right,
So
man.
yeah, onto just the last bit of stuff, more entertainment like shows and whatnot. So The Snyder Cut, it got a rated R rating, so
Yep.
that's
And I'm
actually
looking
cool.
at the trailer right now, dude. Like, it's pretty decent. It
Yeah,
looks
dude,
pretty detailed. It's like,
like the black suit Superman, dude, he looks fucking awesome, bro.
no, dude.
Like he looks awesome.
Have you actually seen the trailer?
Yeah, did they release it yet? Because I
They
know they
actually
were.
released the trailer is
Oh,
actually released, bro. I'm looking at it right now. I wanted to keep that till the end of the show to talk about it, but yeah, I'm looking at the trailer right now. It's really like they actually show Darkseid and like his full bloom glory and everything that's going on, like more interaction between Darkseid and Stephen Wolf. Like there's really a lot of good stuff going on in here.
yeah, and I feel like this is what should have been. I feel like DC being DC, at least on the movie front, like they just rushed way too much, and it ended up just you know shooting themselves in the foot. But with like
Yeah.
this, and the past couple movies, excluding Wonder Woman 2, because that was just trash. But like Joker and the Joker standalone movie, Shazam wasn't that bad. Aquaman
Yeah.
wasn't that bad. They're starting to turn it around. So with this here, we'll see what happens in terms of like the future. Like if they're gonna consider this canon and just not care about the other one that
Completely
released. Yeah,
retcon everything, but I don't think they're gonna retcon this entire continuity at all. They're just gonna change a little bit of things down the line and just make a lot of movies that aren't too tied down by this. Because by them always trying to follow a continuity, they always kind of shoot themselves in the legs, you know.
yeah,
So as long as they always just make a standalone movie and just at the end of it just loosely tie it back to this timeline, or should I say this universe, that should be good.
yeah. And I assume like any big changes or anything that they deem that they want to majorly change will come in the Flash movie when that happens, because that's going to be dealing with you know what, why am I forgetting Flashpoint? So we'll see what happens with that. We have like three different Batman at this point. We've got a couple different Jokers. Like there could be some interesting stuff in store if they play their cards right. That's all I'm saying. If
All
they
right,
have
and
to.
like that overreaction people was having to Joker and whatnot, like
Yeah.
actually watching the Snyder cut, now you could I actually understand why he has that dress on, because this is not even a Joker in the current timeline. This is the future, like dark side messed up future Joker who has been shown in that image. It's not even.
Oh.
That's why he's
Okay.
dressed like that. So I think people just went overboard to just start overreacting like that from the get go without getting
Yeah. I wasn't overreacting to it. I
no,
just
not
personally,
you. I was just
yeah,
saying, like, some people online was just losing their mind about it. It's like, what is wrong with his outfit? Why is he wearing a dress? He looked like he just came from a mental asylum. But, like, actually looking at the trailer, you actually understand why he's dressed like that.
gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
when I first saw that, I was just like, listen, for me personally, I felt like he. Maybe some people say it was on the script, and maybe they just didn't give him enough shine. But I just gotta say, personally, like he is the weakest Joker in my opinion,
I
man.
don't know, man. I
Like
think they should give him enough screen time. But
maybe
I
if
think,
they did, he would have knocked it out of the park. But just that
well,
showing, like I just
in my opinion, like the way they did Jared Leto's Joker is like they were trying to give you a taste of introduction to him before they actually full blown give him his own movie with Batman as the like as the central villain or whatnot. But they were just trying to give you a taste of what to expect. But because most of the project that they were working on didn't come off as successful as it should have been, that's why you never really got his like full performance as Joker. You only got a snippets of here and there. So some of the like, I'm not gonna how do I
hold,
say this? Like,
hold it against him.
yeah, because like not every not every snapshot that you get of somebody's performance is always the best. Like, say like you love that Joker movie, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
you said like he has the best performance as Joker, but not every scene in that Joker movie you love, right? Because that movie is like
yeah,
over 2 hours long.
yeah. I could
But
I could at least say that,
so that's kind
but
of pretty
yeah,
much the same thing that I'm seeing with his Joker iteration. Like maybe they just picked some of the scenes that he didn't give his best performance as Joker. But
Yeah,
that
that
other
is true.
for the
Yeah.
Joker movie, you actually have 2 hours of seeing him perform as Joker, or should I say, because like pretty much like when he started performing as Joker is way, let's say, the last
Yeah, like
45 minutes of
the third,
yeah
last third of the movie. Yeah.
45 minutes of the movie. So you actually saw him build into his character.
That is
Jared
true.
Leto didn't get a chance to build in his character. They just brought you and just smack you with like three different 1 or 2 minute scene of him being Joker, and that may not have landed well with people,
That's
until
true.
he
That's
actually get an
true.
entire full iteration or full movie experience of him as Joker. Then you can criticize whether he's a weak Joker or not. Is
That's
what I
true.
was that my take on that at least.
Okay, I could see that point of view. I could definitely see that. So yeah, we'll see. I guess like how they use him in the Snyder Cut. I mean,
Right.
I don't know if they're planning on using him later or like what's gonna be
I mean,
the
I wouldn't mind
approach of
if
that.
they bring him back for future content, because I think his Joker could actually be decent because he's actually like a younger Joker, so he could do some not combat stuff, but like you've already seen his character is more combat. He's a more combat focused Joker than any other Jokers, in that they have brought to the big screen or little screen, in a sense, because every other Joker are more like masters of mayhem, where they're in the background just putting as much mayhem out there as possible. But he's like an upfront Joker who actually gets in the middle of the action and get dirty with it, Because
That
you
is
wouldn't see
true. Yeah,
regular Joker like being in combat where he's like holding guns and such in his scenes. He's the guy who manipulates people to use guns. He doesn't. He does not be. He's not the one to pull the trigger. But this his performance, or should I say his showing as Joker, he's the kind of Joker who's always with the gun and been like the front man and leading
yeah.
people in that kind of way.
That
So
that
this is a
reminded me.
different take of Joker.
As much as people hated Suicide Squad, there was this one scene in particular where I actually thought like it was a good Joker scene. I don't know if you remember, but it was when he was in the room and there was like he was like in the middle and there was like guns and all these like knives and shit like around him, and he did this laugh. I was like, okay, that if we got more of that, like, because it just seemed like crazy. Like that's Joker to me.
Exactly,
Like you
but
know,
that's what I'm talking about right there. There are scenes in which he's Joker you enjoy, and other scenes you don't enjoy. But like, how as the director was saying, there are a lot of scenes that they shot with him as Joker, but all of them didn't make it into the cut of the movie.
right?
So in essence, maybe they just picked the worst scenes of him, like the worst scenes of him being Joker. So that just didn't translate well to the big screen or the small screen, whatever, wherever you watch that Suicide Squad movie from. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually a good point, and I'll keep an open mind when we see him.
Snyder Cut
Yeah,
drop.
Snyder Cut. So yeah. Um.
March 18, not far away.
Yeah, it's really not. It's like a month from now, basically. A couple days. So that'll be fun for sure. It's a 4-hour movie.
Actually,
Yeah, 4-hour movie, man. It's crazy, but I'm definitely gonna watch all of it.
I'm gonna binge it on the weekend. I can do that in weekdays. I don't know. Let me look at my calendar when it's March 18th. All right, next topic.
All right. Yep. So I wanted to talk about. Well, this we were supposed to do it last weekend, but we didn't get to it. So now we have 2 episodes to talk about. Although you haven't watched it yet, you're waiting. And this is WandaVision. Honestly, I love this show, man.
I'm
The
gonna
show
binge
is.
watch the entire.
Yeah, you're doing it smart because it sucks having to wait week to week for this shit. But what I'm gonna end up probably doing is watching it when it's all said and done. I'm gonna watch it from the beginning and just binge it. But yeah, man, this show is just fucking awesome, dude. So last week, just to summarize a little bit, you had Wanda and Vision kind of coming apart a little bit. And the main scenes that happened was like Wanda like coming out of the bubble reality and threatening all the sword soldiers. I don't know why I was fucking that up. Soldiers. And dude, that whole standoff was awesome. And then her and Vision having their fight, and then spoiler alert, Evan Peters, his Silk Quicksilver coming in. Although in this episode they kind of explain, episode 6 I'm talking about now, they kind of explain that it's basically just her reanimating what seems like the Aaron Taylor Johnson version of Quicksilver. She just ended up changing his face, it seems like. And, it's just crazy. Like, all this shit that's happening. We still have, like, 3 or 4 episodes left. And it's just like, man, where's this shit gonna go? Because, at this point, she got antagonized so much, she actually increased the fucking size and, like, width of the damn hex bubble now. And it's just taking up even more space on, like, in New Jersey. So it's just like, the theory is that by the end, instead of it being no more mutants, yeah, she's gonna say no, more mutants. And she's gonna create, like, hella mutants. Like, dude, that's just gonna be fucking... It's gonna be sick, man.
I kind of understand why she's doing this, because, like, she's in her grief right now, and, like...
Definitely.
She's grieving, and, like, the way to process... I mean, like, she's going about it the wrong way, in my opinion, but, like... I bet you she wasn't going to increase that bubble if those people would have just left her alone in her old town. But they just kept pestering her. So obviously, by them keep getting on her nerves, she's going to keep increasing the bubble. So people shouldn't have to remember what she's doing. In a sense, she's kind of doing like the Thanos thing, but on a micro scale, which is on the Earth, But,
yeah. And I mean, also,
Thanos right now.
She is, but also on another front too, her constant, like, lying and, like, gaslighting Vision, it's not helping her either, because
no, it's not.
Because another thing is, he doesn't realize he's actually dead. Like, she reanimated his corpse, like, he's actually not alive. That's what it seems like. But he doesn't even realize that. And then she keeps gaslighting this dude, and especially in the first couple episodes, like, every time this dude would start, like, catching on, like, yeah, Wanda, like, something isn't right here. She just reset the scene, like, reverse time, and then wipe his mind. And it's like, you can't do that, because, like, it's just gonna get to the point where, and we've seen it happen in episode 5 even, where this nigga starts, like, getting really angry, because he's just like, yeah, like, I don't even remember who I am. Like, before this, I can't remember anything. I don't remember the Avengers. I don't remember, like, us fighting on the team together. I don't remember nothing. All I remember is this. And that's a problem, which is ultimately what caused him to try to go outside the bubble in this episode. And we saw what happened with that. Like, it seems like when this is all said and done, yeah, he's gonna die again. Because as soon as he came out the bubble, this dude just started falling apart, dude. Because he's, like, tied to the hex, basically, is what it seems like. So, yeah, it's just gonna get even crazier from here. And, yeah, it also seems like they're really heavily going into, Monica getting her powers, because they made sure to let everyone know in this episode that because she went in and out the bubble, like, 2 times, it rewrote her DNA. And then Darcy, Kat Dennings' character, basically told her, like, yeah, like, if you go back in, like, you're gonna be, like, something else, like, something different. And she's not heeding the warning, so she's gonna become Photon or Spectrum or whatever name they choose for her, and that's gonna be interesting to see, because, I'm wondering what they're gonna do with her character. Obviously, I think they said she's gonna show up in Captain Marvel 2 and all that stuff, so that'll be cool. And also, there's this theory, or not rumor, I think it's theory, that Gondo was telling me about how Darcy, what if she, people were saying, because she actually got sucked in the bubble too as well. And people are saying, what if she ends up becoming Kitty Pryde or something? Like, that would actually be kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. That would be kind of cool, actually.
Maybe Kitty Pryde from the X-Men?
Yeah.
How's that gonna work, though?
Who knows, man? Like, it's just, they can do anything at this point, honestly. Like, it's just, like, and I'm fully expecting when, like, on the last episode, like I keep saying, like, shit is just gonna go completely left. Like, the multiverse is probably just gonna be, like, broken. And Doctor Strange is gonna come out the cuts, like, see what you just did. Like, you fucking dumbass. Like, now you're gonna have to go ahead and help me clean this shit up. Like, look at this.
Well, and it's just I don't think he's gonna put it in that.
Well, not in that manner. Yeah, I'm just over exaggerating, but he's probably gonna be.
He's gonna be very angry. That's for sure. Because at this point, not only is he, like, playing cleanup to what, like, the aftermath of everything that happened in Endgame, like yeah, there's a lot of stuff he has to clean up and a lot of things on his plate. Like he told Tony in, is it Infinity,
Infinite.
the
Yeah, yeah,
first
Infinite,
movie, where he
Infinite
says
War.
like, I'm the guy who's protecting your reality, you jackass. So he has a lot of stuff on his plate. So when
Yeah,
somebody breaking reality, it's pretty much on his like shit list of no, you know. He's
exactly.
gonna be really angry about that.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. I'm super excited. And then
Because
after this, oh, you go ahead.
he never really got an interaction with Wanda in
No, he hasn't.
Endgame, did he?
No, he hasn't.
Because I really wanted to just see like that 2 or 3 seconds of interaction with them. So he should like kind of like do something where he just give a nod where he like notice how immensely powerful she is or something along that line. But they
I
never really
guess,
alluded
yeah,
to that, you know.
I guess we're gonna see that at the end of this, and then Doctor Strange too, because she's supposed to be in that too. So it'll be interesting. Um, yeah. So, yeah, the last few topics I have here, we were talking about this off air a while back, with the whole Gina Carano thing. So, if you're living under a rock and you don't know, she basically got fired, like from Disney.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, because of the whole thing with the. Essentially, she was like doing these posts where listen, I'll just come at this from a different angle. Like, I get what she was trying to say. Like, and to an extent, I do agree with her. Like, the current climate of the world, like, basically, people have gotten to this point where they have this kind of tunnel vision, where if you don't agree with their ideals, you just get stomped out for that, and you're just a piece of trash or whatever, right? And I get what she was trying to say. What I didn't get is
Sorry
why
about
she,
saying it the wrong
yeah,
way.
she said it the wrong way. Why you would compare being a conservative to basically being a Jewish person in the Holocaust? Like, why would you even say that? Like, listen, I saw a lot of people saying oh, this is censorship, this is against freedom of speech. Like, no, she had her freedom of speech. It's just when you
She
say
used
dumb
it in the
shit,
wrong manner.
yeah, it's just when you say dumb shit, you can't expect to not have consequences. Like, I don't get that.
Because like we were saying in the previous segment, where like people who are in the spotlight, everything they say has a weight to it.
Exactly.
So you cannot just easily just say nonsense like that and just not hope to get a reaction, because she was hoping to get a reaction, but obviously the reaction she got was a really bad reaction to her point of view. But I would say that's the appropriate reaction that people should have, you know?
Yeah,
Because
because it's not something
what you
you just
just yeah,
downplay like that. Like,
what you said
millions of people died.
was a horrible comparison. It doesn't even correlate, right? Because if you're gonna compare that, so you want to tell me like, if you're let's play devil's advocate over here with that comparison. You want to tell me like, so the Jewish that like you're comparing conservatives to Jewish, and she considered herself a conservative. You want to tell me like the Jews that she was comparing herself to during the Holocaust, they were all making like 50 stacks of millions of dollars while also like drinking like bubbly champagne during the Holocaust? Come on, bro.
Yeah,
There weren't.
it's.
You're in a privileged setting making that statement. So you can't be saying that to somebody who is locked up and getting persecuted just because of who they are and their
Exactly.
religion. That's not even those two doesn't even correlate properly.
Yeah,
Just
it's like she just went out of her way to say that. Like, out of
yeah,
any example you could have chosen, you chose that.
hell,
And
you could have used a damn Tom and Jerry friggin' comparison, and that would have made more sense than that
true,
comparison that she did.
honestly, truthfully. But it's like also you said too, and I don't know, like, this is probably gonna piss some people off, but I don't care because we've talked about this before. Like, you brought up the point, it was like, isn't it always true too? Like, don't conservatives kind of push hate out a lot too, and they just say really outlandish stuff sometimes. So
Yeah,
it's just like, I don't really like understand what you expect from like saying outlandish shit like that. Like if you're not
Because
gonna get
the entire idea of what people say is like they know what they're saying is going to create a shitstorm, but they just say it anyway.
you're right,
Because they love that reaction from people, you know. But sometimes, like, the reaction that they were expecting is not what they will get in return.
right. So it's like almost like it's a gamble, almost
Yeah,
like. But as with any gamble, why would you take that much of a risk? Like,
I have no
like,
idea.
like, like you said, you have a platform. Using irresponsibly is just like, what the hell, dude? Like,
Yep.
because like with her too, I didn't even know this before. Because I mean, I've seen a little bit of stuff like controversy she's been in. Like I think she was also pushing out like QAnon theories and like voter fraud bullshit. It's just like,
Those are always hilarious to me because I just don't get how people just straight up go ahead and believe things
I don't either, man.
wholeheartedly without doing a complete research of it. You know, it just
But it's like we said before. The reason that is because it furthers their ideals. That's why.
yeah,
That's why it's so easy to succinct that and place that in your brain to just fully believe it.
yeah. It's easy to like agree with things that you believe in. You know, if somebody is saying something that you believe in, you're obviously gonna agree with it instead of actually like taking the time to do a little bit of background and trying to get stuff right. Because I sometimes I get in the same argument with my family members where I'm like, yeah, just because somebody said this to you and say like they're an expert in this doesn't mean like you should just believe
Yeah,
them.
believe them.
Do your
Yeah,
own research. You know, you got the entire World Wide Web available to you. Nobody's censoring what you look up on the internet. I mean, except for your damn ISP provider who's gonna use that shit and send you ad-based advertisement. But nobody's gonna censor your stuff. So do your research. You know, don't just use Google as your research source. I mean, Google can be a good thing, a good
yeah.
device to search for them, but
I just
do
want to
more.
add.
Yeah.
Don't like go to Facebook or any social media sites for your
No,
news.
social media
Stay
is not
far
a
away from that.
it's not a research base. They're not a good database to do research on. Everything on social media is opinion based, so people need to know the difference between opinion and facts based comments and articles and stuff. You know,
Exactly.
if you don't
Full-hearted
know the
agree.
difference, then just just search on Google, which is what people use a lot between opinion based article and fact based article. Then you can know how to distinguish both of them.
Exactly. Definitely. So, our last few topics here. This one should be quick. So, The Last of Us, even like we've talked about this before. To me, I don't care if this is gonna upset someone. The Last of Us 2 is fan fiction. That's all I have to say about that. I'm not gonna keep talking about that. But,
See,
but
right there, you Last of Us two, right there. That's your opinion.
Yeah, that's what I've
So
been. Yeah, you see, and
exactly.
I'm not gonna. Here's the thing.
You're not
Yeah,
gonna
I'm not
push it
gonna
on
push.
somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I'll say this: if you enjoyed the game, that's good for you. I'm not gonna like try to tear you down or tell you why you shouldn't like it. That's you. But on that same aspect, don't try to come to me and tell me why I should like it, because I don't have to. In terms of just how I saw the story through my eyes, I felt like that shit just fell completely flat, right?
Because trust me, like
Yeah.
the gameplay that gameplay was brutal and really
Yeah, it was, and I enjoyed actually
enjoyable.
the combat aspect of it, and the visuals, top notch. But I'm talking purely story aspect. But say all this to say, they finally cast Joel and Ellie, so we have Pedro Pascal. He's gonna be Joel, and I haven't gotten into Game of Thrones fully yet, but
Oh,
uh,
Lilo Liana Melmont. Yeah,
yeah, Bella Ramsey, she's
she's a
Ellie.
really great actress.
Yeah, I've heard
Uh, sh-
that. So,
she's in Game of Thrones and another show called His Dark Materials. It's kind of
oh,
like a
okay,
yeah. So she's in both of those shows, and she's a really good actress. So
okay, cool. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that. I haven't really watched either of those. His Dark Materials are on my it's on my list.
yeah,
And yeah, definitely Game of Thrones. I just need to commit time to. I'm still trying to finish up fucking Breaking Bad and all that stuff. And I have so many shows and movies I still need to watch. Like it's just fucking
I think
insane.
she can. I think she can carry the role of Ellie really well
Yeah,
because
and it doesn't. It's like people say, it doesn't always come down to like how much a person resembles the character. They need to have the acting to go
oh
along
no,
with it too. So
she definitely have the acting chops to go along with it.
yeah, yeah. So I'm willing to give him a chance. At first, when I saw Pedro, I was like, I don't know if I really see that. But then they had a side comparison. He actually does kind of look like Joel anyway. So
I don't even care if
yeah,
he doesn't look like
yeah.
Joe. I think he can also
He
carry
has
that role
yeah.
because
I think he can
he has the gruffiness
because
because
he,
like he's acting in a lot of post-apocalyptic or should I say like other sci-fi stuff that actually will make him a great candidate to actually portray Joe the proper way, in my opinion.
yeah. So and it's like people were saying like they had the audition for these roles. It's not like they
Of
just
course,
picked him to just because
right.
he's famous or whatever. So obviously he had to have done a good enough job to where they're like, oh yeah, he knows what he's doing. That's Joel. So I'm willing to give him a chance. But as with a preference here or caveat, I'm only watching them adapt the first game as expected. So we'll see how that goes. I'm actually hoping they'll kind of expand on some things that weren't necessarily touched on in the game, like specifically like Firefly
I think they're
stuff
good.
and
I think
things
they're
like that.
definitely gonna do better in the series to expand and stuff. And hell, you don't know like you may actually like Abby character better when she
Maybe,
actually
maybe
introduce her
so.
in the shows
Maybe
because
they'll flesh her out. Maybe they'll do it the right way. Because, like,
yeah
we've talked about this before. In terms for me, it was a structure thing. The way they just went
yeah
about it was just, it just didn't make any sense. You chopped it in the
exactly
wrong way. Now, if
because
you switch that, it could be better.
yeah
So,
and also like I don't know if you ever seen the show called Spartacus before.
no.
It's a really great period piece that has like ancient Rome or whatnot where like it premiered on Stars. But like with Spartacus, they had to introduce some new characters in Spartacus because like initially the actor who was playing Spartacus he passed away, so
Oh.
the show had to take a hiatus. So with that they introduced a spin-off of Spartacus, but it went like about 3 or 10 years back in the past. And the spin-off character Gannicus, he was like the main protagonist of that spin-off show. It went for one season, but after that entire season, they finally recast another character to play Spartacus again. So the show came back, and the main character from that spin-off series, he actually joined the main cast of Spartacus. And like because think about it, you have two main characters from different shows. I mean, technically the same shows, but because they flushed out that one character in a different spin-off series, or should I say, in a different season, they give that character like the entire season for you to understand the character before they bring them into the main storyline. You
Right.
actually got to understand that point of view. So if they can do an entire season where like it after they do Ellie and Joe's story with the first game with the Firefly stuff, and before they go to season three or how many other season they're trying to pull out of it, they just focus on entire season on Abby's character with
Yeah.
all her experience of developing her character since she was a little girl all the way till before she got to the point where she met Joe. Trust me, if there's an entire season of that development for that without having to show Joe and Ellie entire for the entire season of that show, but just Abby's character, her journey, her experience. Trust me, with that going through there, you're gonna understand her character, and she may be a likable character by the time you actually that world collide.
Yeah, and I'm not against that. I'm open to that. That's if they even feel the need. Because here's the thing, like I'm not too sure like that could happen because Neil Druckmann, he's like what a part of that team that's creating that. So I don't know if he's really gonna
No, I
be
think they're gonna
open
do it.
to switching things at all. That's
No,
all I'm
I think
saying.
I think they may do it because like it's a TV show, and one thing I know about TV shows, they always like to have it where it's a long running TV show because the boys they could end the boys in like 2 or 3 seasons, But
That's
you see
true.
how they are stretching it out, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
as long
true.
as you have characters and content that people will enjoy, they can always stretch it over like 5 or 4 seasons, and that will make sense in my opinion because the world of Last of Us, besides like the Ellie and Joe story that's going on in the main game, there are a lot of background stuff that people really want to learn about.
Yeah, that is true.
So
The world of The Last of Us is
yeah,
really it's there's a lot of world building that could happen.
yeah. So as long as they
It's,
do a world building with other characters, people will actually get behind that stuff.
yeah, it's kind of
Because
like it could be The Walking Dead almost because you
no, it,
have
it, it definitely could be The
you know
Walking Dead.
yeah
Because there are a lot of characters who were one off in the comics. Well, I used to read the Walking Dead comics, not anymore, but there are a lot of characters who were just one off in the comics, but in the TV show, they actually flushed them out and made them likable characters, and people actually enjoy that.
right
So
right
I can see that happening for The Last of Us.
yeah I'm looking forward to seeing how they, adapt that first game, what they plan on doing, like with certain characters or what they end up explaining, like especially like the Fireflies, because we never really understood or got
What
like
they
how,
stood for.
yeah,
Yeah,
like that and like how they started and like when they started and like
yeah.
it's just like there's a lot of
It
questions
just
that
it,
weren't answered. So
it just had a big time jump. So with The Last of Us TV show, instead of them having that big time jump like that, they could always be having like little iteration of flashbacks within what Joe did within
right.
that, or they could actually tell the entire story of what happened until Joe met Ellie anyway. So
Exactly, because
there's
that's
a lot of
another thing. Because I talked about this actually with my mom too, because we were just talking about shows and stuff. I was like, there are references to things that have happened, like especially between Joel and Tommy, his brother.
right.
Like, there's this scene where like Tommy's like he's just like, or Joel's like, yeah, like all those goddamn years I took care of us, and Tommy's like, took care? I have nothing but nightmares from those years, and it's like, oh
Exactly.
shit,
So guess
yeah.
what?
So
If they actually show those nightmares where in Tommy's opinion was nightmare, in Joe's opinion he was protecting his family. If they actually show all of those, Joe may not even be the likable character that everybody actually
that
says they
is true.
love in the
That
game.
is
So he
true.
may just be a horrible villain who is just straight up just have an entire uh should I say the entire storyline or structure or evil shit that he's doing. But in his mind, he's the hero where he's protecting his family. But from the audience perspective, this guy's just horrible. He's just killing a whole bunch of people and doing a lot of heinous things and just considering himself a hero of saving his family. So it may just not come off. He may not just come out as the hero as he was portrayed to be.
Yeah, I mean, even in that though, like Joel, like I just feel like he was just a complex character. He is just a complex character because like his past and you've seen these sides to him where it's just like yeah, like he's not necessarily a hero. I don't think it's kind of like one of those like shows we talk about like let's the 100 for example. There are no heroes in that world really
There's no hero in the
because
100.
everyone
They're
is
all
kind
they're
of a
all
piece of shit,
horrible in their own
honestly.
way.
Yeah. So
Like I said, it always comes down to human survival. Whenever it comes down to human survival, everybody's always gonna do what's good, what's the best outcome for them
right.
and
Yeah, it's
people
true.
close to them.
It's true.
So I think that's just a situation that The Last of Us is gonna like push on, where like humans can do like horrible things as long as it comes to protecting who is close to them and what they deem important and what they deem of value to protect.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
that's my take on how that thing may go down.
Yeah, it's true. I'm looking forward to it. So our last little bit here to wrap up the show is what are we currently watching and reading. I actually wanted to start off with One Piece because me and he, this dude is the reason. Illusive is the reason I even got into One Piece. Quick story: I fucking just refuse to get into
Well,
One Piece, dude.
for
Like,
for people
yeah,
out there who don't know One Piece,
yeah.
One Piece is Japanese animated manga slash anime.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, yeah.
and it's a long running series, 20 years plus.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, like that's one of the main things that kind of draw people away from it is because of how long it is. But I guarantee you, man, Because when I first started it, like he kept telling me, man, you gotta watch it, you gotta read it, and I was just so like against that. I was like, nah, man, I don't want to read this. This looks stupid. And then I finally watched it. I'm just like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
you just get drawn in, and it's like, god damn, like this is way like there's a lot more going on here than what you can actually see from the outside.
So
So
I would say for anybody who wants to get into One Piece, like just look at One Piece as a way of life, bro. Because if you're just gonna get into it because you're gonna try to go and watch it, like as a show or whatever, yeah. By the time you get hooked to it, you're just gonna realize, yeah, One Piece. There's a lot of deep stuff going on in here. Like they touch a lot of subject matter that's like really personal to people and like which can relate with like real life, of course, in a fantasy real life, but it really just hits home when you get your hooks into a specific character that you actually like in the series and that experience and journey. You
exactly.
you go to like characters like should I say suffering and like pain, joy, and happiness all together with the characters. So you would just anybody would just enjoy that series, but don't let the try. How do you say it? Like the long iteration of like the
Yeah,
amount
the
of
sheer
time
amount of it just turn you
episodes
off.
turn you off.
Because I'll tell you right now, when I first started, dude, I binged that shit in like 2 weeks, man. Because I just every day I woke up, I just watched it, just turned that shit on, dude. It didn't matter what I was doing. I was just like, after work, turn that on. Before work, turn that on. Because like you just get hooked, man. Like
Yeah,
especially on the weekends, like you're just like watching, you're just binging the shit out of it because it's such a good story. But saying all that to say, this is gonna be like spoilery. So I mean, if you haven't started, obviously you probably shouldn't, be listening. But we want to talk about chapters 1002 and 1003. So the chapter for this one, like, man, just like all the things that have been going on since chapter 1000. Luffy is
it's
just
just been fire, bro. It's just
yeah,
been fire.
the supernova, like the fucking Yonko, you have Kaido, you have Big Mom, and there's a standoff, and man, Luffy is just out here like trying his best to. Man, when he started doing I'm kind of all over the place. When he started doing the fucking Kong Gatling gun with the Rio, dude. Like, I can't wait to see that anime. I just gotta say, because
No,
that's
it's
gonna
gonna be
be
awesome once they have it animated because like you've like everybody's coming from the experience where he just met this overly powerful like as classified the world's strongest creature and he like met this guy and the guy totally just decimated him with just one hit, right? After he
yeah,
tried his hardest to defend himself and he just got decimated with one hit. And now he's coming back again for round two. But he's actually putting up a decent fight.
yep.
So that is just a proud moment right there. Like you gotta root for that.
You do, because it's just like Luffy has come from such a long way. Oh, and I also forgot because at this point, chapter 1004 is out, so I don't know why I didn't have that in there. But yeah, like it's just crazy to see how far these characters have come, especially like his like. It depends on where you see it, but I feel like Zoro is like one of Luffy's like right
No,
hands. Like
no,
he's just like
he's a right hand. He's
yeah,
a vice captain, but
yeah,
obviously people always like to have that comparison where like he's not number two, it's Sanji's number two or Nami's number two.
yeah. We're not
But
gonna get
like
into all that.
obviously
It's
he's number two and Sanji is number three and Jinbei, well, for people who hasn't met Jinbei yet, but Jinbei is like number three because that's how he's gonna be. They're gonna be like his top three strongest
yeah,
from this point on because almost every named character who's like the strongest in the verse has at least three people who are strong and who are like the top fighter in that crew. And
exactly,
they are just the top three strongest in his crew.
exactly. And it's gonna be interesting because especially with 1003 and 1004, we've gotten these glimpses of how the other characters are faring.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Nico Robin. I just call her Robin. I used to call her Robin. Going against Black Maria, it seems like And Sanji telling her, listen, you
Yeah,
shouldn't underestimate her, because... And it's like you keep saying, me and Izzy have talked about this for, like, I don't know, like, years, it seems like, since I started this. Like, we're waiting to see when certain characters, like, their hockey blooms, and I'm hoping this will be the time for Robin, and maybe Nami too, because it's, I don't think it's going to be easy fight by any means, just because of how Black Maria, her fruit is. You know, it's fucking
yeah.
spider. It's like...
For people who don't know, like hockey is just like their spiritual power that they use in One Piece, and devil fruits are just abilities like superpowers that they have. So
Yeah, yeah. Which again,
that's
this
what
is
we're
like
talking about.
there's various like other. I don't know. There's various like powers. Like the main character Luffy, he has the gum gum fruit, right? And this nigga. That's why, you know, initially it could be a little off-putting when you see this guy just stretching his limbs and doing all these weird named attacks, right? Like you might just think, oh, this is a little weird, but honestly, like just stick with it, man. Like because there are some really broken devil fruits out there you see characters have, and it's just like this shit is getting nuts, you know. But yeah, it's just it's a fun time to be a One Piece fan, and with the most
It
recent
really is.
chapter, we've kind of, you know, gone
Well,
back from the roof, and then now we're seeing like everything
other
else
characters
play
and
out.
everything that's going on, and obviously, like last chapter, we have the like One Piece equivalent of pretty much the secret serv CIA or like any kind of secret agency out there in the real world, but they're called CP0. They're over here playing like their long game of strategy where they're pretty much predicting who's gonna win this all out war that's going on, and they pretty much have pretty much discounted the protagonist, which is Luffy and his alliance, how you say it, like that percentage of winning is just pretty much not looking good. But with this
Yeah.
current chapter, we're saying that is not actually the case. Where the like Sasaki mentioned, where like that's what happens when you face overwhelming numbers. But the numbers is actually flipping around now because we have this
Yep.
little girl over here who has a devil fruit, where it pretty much turn anybody who has an artificial devil fruit into her ally and her pretty much a servant. So she's over here feeding them pretty much dumplings and turning every numbers out there into her allies. Like
Right, which bolsters
the number,
the numbers of the out, like our group, you know.
yeah.
So the enemy isn't really
Enemy's
aware
not
of that yet.
they're not aware
Yeah.
of it, and before they know it, it may be too late because now they're gonna have the superior numbers and superior army, where those other guys are gonna be on the antagonist of this arc is gonna be on the back leg. So you're only gonna have their top executive being the ones who are the most powerful. So the numbers is gonna be on the good guy side, and where like the disadvantage is gonna be on the bad guy side in a sense.
Right, and I believe Sawyer brought it up how, you know, there could be some just flip floppy bad guys, because you have it to where, like, you know, people like Queen who just show that you're expendable to their side. You're like, well, why
Oh
the
yeah,
fuck am I fighting for you then? This guy
yeah.
just saved me from, you know, the ice bullet shit. Why would I fight for you? You know what I'm
No,
saying? It's
definitely. There
like,
are gonna be a lot of people who are actually gonna flip sides because I think Hapu is gonna be one of them because that guy is such a bitch.
yeah,
I don't like that
he's a
guy.
yeah,
He
he's
doesn't seem
fucking,
like he's loyal to anybody. But I mean that's understandable. He's an opportunist, you know.
yep.
So he was dissing the Straw Hats and talking about like why are you going to ally yourself with that little crew? But eventually he's gonna actually make a decision to switch sides, and obviously his devil fruit is one of those things that will actually work on Kaido, you know, because it actually attack people with sound wave and shit. So it's gonna be a good addition once he joins the alliance. But obviously not a lot of people are gonna like that idea because he's already gotten a lot of people nerve already, mainly Zoro
Yeah,
because
yeah. Just to put it lightly, I actually wanted to ask you, who do you think it is that's there at the very end?
at the very end, I'm gonna say it's either Hiyori, which is like the most logical option. But I'm not gonna put it past it being Lady Toki, because
Yeah, I think it. I think that's a
because
good.
we never
Good.
really got what. I mean, she did say she did not want to time travel again, but I'm not gonna put it past her where she actually, when she got shot by Batman. Holy shit, Batman, that name sucks. But when she got shot by Batman, I'm not gonna put it past her bit. Just like her devil fruit kind of getting into like survival mode and just teleporting her like 20 years in the future. I'm not gonna put it past her, but I think it's Hiyori, but I'm not gonna discount the possibilities.
Yeah,
I could Toki.
I saw some people because it looks like Anel a little bit. I don't think so. I don't think it's gonna be him.
I
Why?
mean,
Why would he be there?
with the weird ears, it actually
Yeah, it
looks
doesn't
like
look.
Fukuro Koju or
Yeah,
freaking Enel, but there's no way it's
yeah,
gonna be Enel. What
yeah.
the hell
He.
does Enel has to do on this island, bro?
Yeah, there would be no reason for him to come there. You think he's just gonna suddenly like, oh yeah, Luffy
So
beat my
yeah,
ass, so I'm just gonna help
I'm
him?
gonna
Like,
help
no,
Enel. That
no.
guy is like high on God complex level. He's not gonna come over here and help anybody. If anything, if he comes over, he's just gonna destroy the entire island because he can. So
That's true. He could do that.
I don't think he's gonna show up and try to go and start helping random samurais unless there's some kind of like a flashback where like Odin or whatever helped him in the past or something. But I'm not gonna like stretch that
Yeah,
to
yeah,
make
I
any sense.
doubt it. My main pick is yeah, I think it's Hiyori. I mean,
Yeah.
it would make sense just because
Yep.
like her and Momo still have to meet, and
Exactly.
there's just a lot going on there. So,
Right. And it's gonna be interesting if she actually inherited her mom's like devil fruit
fruit,
without
oh
knowing
dude,
it.
yeah, that would be sick actually.
So
Huh.
that would be crazy too. But we'll
So
see.
with that fruit, can they travel back in time, or is it only forward?
It only goes forward in
Okay,
time.
okay,
She doesn't go back.
okay. All right.
Which is why she never returned home because the only way she could get to Wano was continuously going forward in time because every time she goes forward, she tried to find somebody to take her to Wano, but nobody actually knew the way to get to Wano because it's such a closed off country. And while she's trying to find somebody, they are just horrible people in the world of One Piece who's trying to sell her as slaves. So like human
Right.
trafficker. So it kind of keep getting her in a bind where she can't really escape, and the only way she could escape is just possibly just jumping forward in time again.
Right. Okay. Huh. Yeah, that's. It's gonna be interesting. It kind of sucks we're on break next week though, so
I don't mind it.
no chapter
Like,
next week because I'm just so pumped to
yeah,
see what
I want
happens.
to see what happens, but Oda is the king of
Yeah,
freaking or
breaks.
suspense and cliffhangers and
Yeah,
always silhouette. Like this guy loves
yeah,
silhouettes, bro.
he really does.
Like there's just some characters you don't even have to put in silhouettes, but he would just put them in silhouettes and say, "Well, play guess where's Waldo with this character and put the puzzle together." But yeah, because like if it is Hiyori, we already know how Hiyori looks like, and we already know how Lady Toki look like. Why would you put them in silhouettes again? But hey, that's how you build suspense and make people come back for the next chapter, next episode.
Yeah. So, besides that, what are you currently reading, watching? I mean, for me, I'm still trying to finish up Breaking Bad. I watched the Judas and the Black Messiah movie yesterday with my mom.
Yeah, same.
And
I did the
man,
same when I came out, and
yeah,
that movie was pretty decent. I'm not
yeah,
gonna.
it was enjoyable. You know,
I
the
mean,
plight of black people.
it made me a little bit angry when I watched it, but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
pretty much anything in history when you watch is gonna make you angry, whether it's related to black people or any other race, because of how much like back in history people are just horrible. Human beings are just horrible. I mean, way more than they are currently, but currently people know how to hide their nonsense of being horrible, but
true.
history it's things that already happened, so all of that always comes to light. So
Yeah,
you could get angry about it, or you could just be a better human, but yeah.
Yeah, without spoiling too much about it, I'll just say this dude commits a crime and he's put in a position where he has to like do something in order to like get away from, and by the end, like it's just like throughout this dude's whole story, his name is Bill O'Neill.
The
Like,
payoff just wasn't worth it, bro.
yeah,
Like,
it really wasn't, because by the end, like it is like you have a business and money, and like you sold out a whole bunch of people to do it, and it's just like, was it really worth it? I just it's like you can really cause
what
it.
we were talking about again, like survival of self-preservation.
Yeah,
He had to look out for what's good for him, not what's good for the many. Because as you saw, everybody who was looking out for what's good for the many ended up dying. He
it's
was over
true.
here trying to self-preserve, and he survived. And I would say not he didn't get the most best of rewards, but compared to every other person in there, he ended up with at least a pocket change in a business. So
Yep.
I wouldn't say it's a bad reward for what he did,
But it's just like the guilt of what you had to
yeah,
do,
the guilt of
you
what
could
he did.
see he was
He
just
has to live with
struggling.
it.
Yeah, he was just struggling so hard with that shit, and even the agent that put him up to the task he was
Right.
doing, even he seemed like he
He
wasn't sure.
no, he
You
knew
know,
what he was doing wasn't
yeah,
a moral thing, but
yeah,
he was doing his job. So like anybody who does that job, they follow a chain of command, and
yep,
because he was following this chain of command, he had to do what he was assigned to do, and that's what he did.
yep. I mean, by the end, it's just like, man, yeah, it is. It kind of depressed me and my mom a little bit, but that's just history. I mean, it's good to know, like, just to
History is
see,
depressing, but
you
it's
know,
good to know information like that.
yeah, just to see how where things have come from and where we're going, and how the fight still rages on, just for equality and all that type of shit.
Yeah.
So,
And just to be better humans, because if you're not putting in the effort every day to be a better human being, then there's just no point of living. I
yeah,
mean, there's also the flip side of it, of putting the effort to be as much of a horrible person as possible. That's also a another way of living. But hey, everybody do what they have to do to survive.
right. And it's like my mom says, "Hey, do what you can sleep with at night. If you could just help you out,
Go
kill a whole bunch of people, and you can
go to
sleep at
sleep
night.
and sleep well.
Hey, man,
What?
good for you, I guess." Yeah, but me being an empathetic person and just you know more often than not, being a caring person can put you in compromising situations. So yeah, there's a give and take there. It's like
Yep.
you have to look out for yourself, but also if you can do what you do to help other people, I do it, right? But there does need to be self preservation, as with everything. Like,
Right.
so there's just a balance by the end, a balance. That's what you need to have. So. But yeah, that's it for me in terms of reading and watching. Or do you want to say what you're reading or watching currently? Besides that,
Right. Right now, what I'm reading Demon Slayer. I'm close. I'm in the final arc now for the season, and I'm also reading Jujutsu Kaisen, and obviously One Piece, like always. And well, and some of the other series I'm reading are on break right now and like indefinite hiatus. So yeah,
right?
Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
enjoying that.
I want to get into those. Like I said before, I just have so much shit that I need to watch and read. It's like fuck. There's just so much shit. Like man. And then like you add on top of that like how
I
we be
totally
playing
understand.
video games, and like this is a lot, man. It's a lot.
Like even real life gets in the way of that stuff. You gotta go to work, gotta how you say, buy stuff. But like there's just a lot of things going on, so you gotta take care of the family and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
and try
yeah,
to see if you can like get your career going and all that. So like I,
exactly.
I just do this on my leisure time. But still, it's good to like have other things to like entertain people besides just watching shows, reading stuff is also good.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, if you don't have anything else, I mean, we could just wrap it up. Um,
Yep.
all right. Yeah. So yeah, once again, this was Kai Beam Podcast, and this was
Uh,
episode 8. Thank you for coming out. This was Kai Beam, and
And
You know,
Izzy.
Izzy, Elusive, Mr. Elusive
Yep.
over here. Thank you for coming out. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys later on the next one. Thank you.
Peace.